Hello, welcome to today's live. What's the subject for the live today? Well, it's going to be the EB2. That's an employment-based petition second preference. So I want to dispel some myths about it, tell you a little bit more what it's about, and maybe you'll know someone or you will be able to actually do the EB2 afterwards. Okay? And then what I'll do is I will answer whatever immigration questions you have. I'll go through all the people that joined, and then I'll do my consults after. All right? Anyways, I got sworn into the Michigan bar as of about 2 or 3 days ago. Now they have to serve that on the Michigan Supreme Court and the Michigan bar. And then I will get certification of it and then be able to get my Michigan bar number. All right, so that's all the states I'm going to go in. So I've been in California since 1992. I got admitted to Texas in 2025, earlier this year, and now Michigan. So that's it, 3. So obviously California, the northern state of Michigan, and the southern state of Texas. So I got a lot covered. All right. So let's get to it. What is the EB2? Okay, so there's initials up and down and around and everywhere you look in immigration law, okay? And when you're being petitioned by an employer or through some employment-based means, they use the initials EB. That's employment-based. And when the number is lower, meaning 1 versus 2, it's much more difficult to get the green card. So EB1 and its divisions are the hardest. EB2 is the second hardest, and then EB3, that's where most people sit. Now, given that I just said that EB5 is the $1 million investment visa, which is actually harder than the other ones, so disregard that for now. And of course, EB4 deals with special immigrant petitions, such as VAWA, things like that. So EB2, what is it? Well, EB2 is a way of getting the green card through employment when you don't have the qualifications of EB1. That's referred to as extraordinary ability alien, and some other categories in the EB1. And the EB3, you need, some are unskilled, some you need a bachelor's degree, and so forth. So the EB2 is right in between there, okay? And it's divided into several different areas. So when I say EB2, there's different ways you can apply for the EB2. So the first is to have an advanced degree, which means more than a bachelor's degree, okay? Can't be a bachelor's degree, it has to be more. Master's, doctorate, or you could use the equivalent, meaning bachelor's plus 5 years progressive experience. So that doesn't mean you get a bachelor's, in engineering and then you go work as a cashier for 5 years. Okay, that's not progressive experience. It has to be in the field and you have to constantly be moving up. Okay, that is progressive experience. So that's the first thing, advanced degree. Now, just as a side note, some people go, well, should I do advanced degree, EB2, or should I just do regular EB3? And one of the issues that comes into play is the prevailing wage, okay? With the prevailing wage, you have to pay, the employee, you being the employer, has to pay what is considered normal wage for that position. And when we run it through all the immigration procedures, generally it's a little higher than normal. That's the reality. But if the employer is going to employ full-time somebody with an advanced degree versus someone without an advanced degree, what's going to happen? Well, they're going to pay a lot more. So sometimes the employer can't or doesn't want to pay all that, and therefore that kicks you out of the EB2 right away. Because if you have to have an employer petition you, and that employer is now willing to pay the extra for the advanced degree, well, then your decision's made. Okay, so that's the first category. The second category is exceptional ability aliens. Okay. Now, there's some give and take as to what exactly exceptional means, what qualifies, and so forth. Keeping in mind that EB1 has extraordinary ability aliens. Okay, so what we can assume and what we know is that exceptional ability is not as hard or difficult to get as extraordinary, but then you do have to meet the qualifications. So just using common sense, if, and when I say alien, that's what they refer to as a foreign national, which we're all aliens depending where we are. If we're not in our home country where we're born, we are a foreign national and or alien in that country. Okay, that's the fact. So when you have exceptional ability, you just have to think about it. The person is quite a bit better than someone in the of the norm, but they don't have things like a Nobel Prize or national awards, things like that. Okay, and you can use exceptional ability in the arts, in business. It's all over the board. One myth is that you can only get exceptional ability if you have a PhD and you're in science. Okay, that's not true. You can certainly get exceptional ability in sports. Okay, I once did one for a golf coach, believe it or not. You can get one in the arts, you can get it in business, you can get it in all the subcategories of business or marketing, science, whatever it is. You can do all of that. Okay. Just a second. Let me the subcategories of business or marketing, science, whatever it is. You can do all of that. Okay. Just a second. Let me turn Just a second. Let me turn my lives. I like to be able to talk to you without being buzzed and beeped all the time. Okay? There we go. Now I'm here. So that's the second category. So let's recap. First category of EB2 is advanced degree. Second category of EB2, exceptional ability. Now keep in mind these are not things you have to prove together. You don't have to have an advanced degree and be exceptional ability, which means that it's one or the other. So let's say you don't even have a degree. It's possible you might be able to prove exceptional ability without a degree, although that would be very difficult. But let's say you have just a bachelor's degree and you can prove exceptional ability. You can go for EB2. Okay? And then what is the third category of EB2? That's National Interest Waiver. And that does not require a petitioner. It doesn't require an employer. Now, neither does the EB1 extraordinary ability alien, but, of every 1,000 people that apply, 10 or 15 might get it with the extraordinary ability. But with the National Interest Waiver, I'm by far not saying it's easy, but it's a lot easier than EB1. Okay, so those are the three categories. Okay, and two of them require an employer to petition you, one of them does not. And so when you hear the term EB2, the next question you have to ask is, okay, if it's EB2, what category, what subsection of EB2 are you talking about in order to know what they might qualify for and how to proceed? Okay? So that's the bottom line with dividing the EB2 into its various categories. Alrighty. So let's go back here to all the people that joined. Let me just scroll to the beginning. Wow, there's a lot of people that joined. Okay. And let's see how it is. Let's see if we have any questions. By the way, if you do have questions, now's the time to ask. Okay. Thanks for the hearts. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down now. See what we have. Okay. This is where you need to be patient because I scroll down and I see all the people that joined. Sometimes we have a lot of questions, sometimes we don't. Okay. Okay. It says invite Yolanda Hernandez to join live as a guest. Yolanda, do you want a consultation? If so, let me know. Okay, so Picky Pirate got the #1 gifter badge. I found a lot of times when that happens, they have a question after, so I bet you I'm going to run into a question from Picky Pirate. Let's see. Wow, I'm just scrolling through a bunch of people here. Just a minute. Patience Padawan. Oh, and here's sick of this timeline. Wants to join as a guest. Again, let me know. Okay. It just scrolled way up. Just a minute. All right. I'm almost to where the questions would be. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I'm getting there. Usually I don't have to scroll through this many people before I get. Okay, here's Hardi Chaudhry. Okay. Can I am traveling my home country with a SIJ, Special Juveniles Guardianship Green Card. If you have been, SIJ is a special immigrant juvenile petition. There's all kinds of stuff you have to qualify. But if you have, it's not necessarily called a guardianship green card. That's not what it is. If you have received approval first from the state court regarding, custody and so forth, and then it's all been submitted to immigration and you have the physical green card in your hand, yes, you can travel to your home country. There's no issue. Okay? It's not like asylum. I mean, even asylum, theoretically, you could, but there's issues with that. There's no problem. But I'd want to make 100% sure you actually have the green card, because the fact you're referring to it as a guardianship green card is a little bit interesting to me because I haven't heard of it named in that manner before. Normally, the guardianship part is the first part of the petition, which leads me to believe maybe you don't have the actual green card in your hand. Okay? All right. And Har, you asked the same question again. She already got you. All right. Well, Har, you confirm you already received the green card, so you're good to go. You're fine to travel to your home country. You might want to, when you do qualify, apply for citizenship, because the way the world is these days, and by the world I mean the United States and everything going on with it, if you can become a U.S. citizen, you should. You are welcome, Har. Okay. Let's see. Junie. Daughter is about to sponsor me, but only have a felony conviction in 2004 in Virginia. Okay. Junie, I don't know if you're saying your daughter has a felony conviction or you have a felony conviction. I'm going to assume it's you, since 99 out of 100 times that would be the case. And if you have a felony conviction, then that's going to be a problem. I need to know what the conviction is. I need to know if you pled guilty. I need to know what your sentence was. I need to determine if you are an aggravated felon. And if so, your daughter can petition you till the cows come home. It's not going to help you. Okay? And theoretically, she can do the I-130, which is the first part right now. And that doesn't matter. You still will be able to have the petition go forward, but you're not going to be able to adjust. You're not going to be able to consulate process. So on Junie, you have confirmed it is you. See, I told you, 99 out of 100 cases. So if you can tell me what the felony is, why, then I'll be able to give you more information as to what you should probably do. Okay? It says I have a flash goal here. What does that mean? 3 gifters send Rose to your live in 15 minutes. Hey, what do you think? Can I get 3 to do that? There we go. Got the little button up there. Okay. So, Junie, if you don't want to put it here what the conviction is, just send me a message and let me know, and I'll let you know what can be done. Also, let me know what state you had the conviction in, okay? The fact that it was 2004 means nothing, okay? It still is an issue for immigration. Some people think, well, it was 20 years ago. What are they going to care? Okay, that's not the case, okay? All right, Gabrielle. What if someone has an expired Russian passport living in Ukraine? Will humanitarian parole work? Okay, first of all, if you have a expired Russian passport and you're living in Ukraine, does that mean that you fled Russia? Okay, and if you're in Ukraine, does that mean that you've been granted some kind of legal status in Ukraine because you're there? If that's the case, then asylum won't work, because if you've gained status in a third country, the U.S. won't even listen to asylum for you. So the fact you have an expired Russian passport, as far as humanitarian parole, is irrelevant. Okay? Humanitarian parole is based on exactly what it says, humanitarian reasons, and they parole you in the country, or let you in the country for those reasons. So I'll exaggerate. Let's say you have a liver that's about to, you're about to die because you need a liver transplant, and it so happens in the U.S. in the next 10 days, you can get surgery to get the liver replaced. That of course would fall under humanitarian parole, and they could care less if you have a passport that expired or not. Okay. Okay, so Jenny, you pled guilty. Fraudulent use of a social security number, sentenced to 3 months. Okay, well, the fraudulent use of the social security number would not be a claim of U.S. citizenship, although they might claim that's the claim. But the consequences for U.S. citizenship are so severe that, it needs to be very, very specific. Now, I got to ask, are you sure this is a felony? Okay, because if you're only sentenced to 3 months, it could be considered a misdemeanor depending. Okay, so I mean, it is possible, based on this, that you would qualify for a criminal waiver with your daughter petitioning you, but of course it all has to be done properly. So your daughter would petition you, and then assuming that you qualify to adjust, I need to know if you came into the country legally or illegally, or if you're in the country right now, then you could very well qualify for a criminal waiver of inadmissibility, and you wouldn't need to do criminal relief to try to vacate that crime. Okay? Virginia, yeah. So it's doable, okay? And if you said Texas or Florida, we'd have other issues, but okay. Gabrielle, yes, and my friend has a Ukrainian green card. He lives with his mom. I don't know what you're saying yes to, because I said a lot of stuff regarding your particular situation. I mean, your friend may have a Ukrainian green card, but that's irrelevant as to your case. Okay? Unless, Gabrielle, you're talking about a person who this went through. Yes, if your friend is from Russia and got into Ukraine and has a Ukrainian green card or the equivalent of it, I suspect they don't call it Ukrainian green card, then that person's not going to qualify for sure for asylum. So the question is, under humanitarian parole, on what basis do you think they would qualify? I mean, obviously there's war there and this and that, but they could certainly apply for it. Okay, they could apply for it. But I need to know, what's your situation? What's your relationship to this person? Are you planning on getting married? Are you the fiancé? Okay. Junie, that's what I'm saying. Crime of moral turpitude means that you can file and prepare a criminal waiver. Now, the criminal waiver is very important. Okay. Some people think, well, no big deal. I'll just say I'm sorry. No, the waiver is the door that must be open for you to get immigration benefits. Okay, if it's not granted, then it doesn't matter that your daughter petitioned you or not. You're not going to be able to adjust. All right. Okay. I think we've come to the end here. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. This should, do the live for today. And if there's anybody who wanted a consult, then you would come in. One more thing, Gabrielle, you can't do the humanitarian parole sort of. I mean, what you're doing is you're trying to get that in so that your fiance will get here, and then you can adjust status. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you're planning on getting married, so if you're a U.S. citizen, which hopefully you are, then you can do the fiance petition for your Russian/Ukrainian fiance. Okay, you can message me directly. But that's the way to do it, the fiance visa. And I know that you're thinking, I can't be apart from him for another 9 months. But that's the way to do it. You could try the humanitarian parole, but I'm telling you right now, that's going to be very difficult to get approved. All right? All right. Well, everybody have a good day until the next one.